Colic. Colic is another good reason. Colic is defined as 4 hours of crying or more a day. So a colicky child could have problems in the bowel, and so maybe there's a problem with the sacrum, maybe there's a problem with the low back that is causing the intestines to not function as best they potentially could. Alternatively, there could be something in the mother's diet that is causing the baby to be a little colicky. So there are a number of, different reasons, but the chiropractor would hopefully adjust that too and say, well, let's look at your diet and see, are there some nights where the baby's colicky and other nights where the baby's not colicky? Like, what are you eating? What's, what are you doing differently on those nights? Would be sometimes you can see they can't lift their head so well, or their head is always pointed down, and almost like sometimes the head is just a little bit wrinkled, like they just seem like they're stuck, and that can be from birth. In hospitals, when the doctors are pulling on the heads, it can get a little rough, especially if there's forceps or, if there's cesarean section, there's a lot of pulling they have to do to get them out. And those bones in the infant cranium are very movable at that time. They're designed that way. They're not fully calcified, and they're designed so that they can move over top of each other. And that's supposed to happen as they go down the birth canal. But if those bones get stuck, once, if somebody's pulling or, they get stuck one way or another, those bones can get stuck in that position, and then the infant won't be able to quite move the way he or she wants to. So if you see something like that in your child or in a child, it would be a really good suggestion to take them to a chiropractor. Newborns, immediately, yeah. You can absolutely adjust a newborn right away. There are lots of case studies of infants being adjusted right off the bat. And they do beautifully. Sometimes, like, there are midwives that will know that an infant is not doing as well as the infant can possibly do, and it's not it's now it can be an emergency, and if there's an emergency and the newborn needs to go to the hospital, the newborn needs to go to the hospital. But there are other cases where just not quite thriving, and they're not sure why. And those midwives have called chiropractors, and the baby gets adjusted and begins to thrive right off the bat, just by removing a little bit of interference in the nervous system. And it can be from that trauma, trauma in the hospital or trauma coming down, like a traumatic birth can, really change the way the head is sitting. Getting an infant adjusted, especially if you see a problem that's going on in the neck or in the head, those subluxations can later on lead to developmental difficulties. So you want to try right off the bat to get those guys to a chiropractor and get them adjusted, because that way you have a better chance of avoiding any kind of developmental issues, whether it's motor skills or social skills, making sure they crawl on time. So it would be a good idea to really get those infants in to a chiropractor.
Thank you for watching A Wise Way. Subscribe to stay updated, share to pass the knowledge, or view our other videos on the left.